Hey there, happy Wednesday to you. This is Asher from Conscious Creators. Today I wanted to share a little video with you about a meditation technique that I use and that I recommend for people on Conscious Creators. It's a little outside the box, and perhaps you've never really heard of some of the elements that go into this, so I kind of wanted to break them down for you. First off, I'm going to demonstrate what's called a possibility mantra. There's three sets of mantras in Conscious Creators. There's the possibility mantras, the alignment mantras, and then finally the fulfillment mantras. So the possibility mantras are just getting our brain to accept new possibilities, to accept that certain things are possible, and to get the brain to start opening up to those possibilities. The second set of mantras are the alignment mantras, and that's where we bring our perspective into alignment with a conscious and creative perspective of a higher, whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it a higher power, if you want to call it God, if you want to call it consciousness. My particular higher power, if you will, is called collective consciousness. I don't pray to one God, I pray to all gods. They can all help me, they're all available for me, but they're all, collective consciousness is an embodiment of all those gods, the oneness of all those gods. So, but like I said, there's no right or wrong higher power. There's only the acknowledgement that when I'm in a fearful and reactive mind, I have a different perspective. I'm looking at the world through a different lens than when I am open and receptive. When I am consciously aligned and in a creative mindset, I'm looking at the world through a different lens altogether. And whatever you want to call that greater conscious perspective is completely up to you. I call mine collective consciousness. So, but the deal here is to clear away and to mitigate as much of the survival patterns from our past so that we can sustain, so we can establish and maintain a connection to this greater conscious perspective. If we can consistently connect to life through this conscious and creative, expansive perspective, we'll start to have a different living experience. And so the possibility mantras begin that. And then the alignment mantras, well, they invite that invites this higher power or this greater power in to help with us. So we're stating what it is we want to do. We're inviting this greater power or perspective to help us to do that. And in between each one of these possibility and alignment mantras, I create a vibratory noise. You can't really call it a chant. You really can't call it a mantra. The closest thing I would equate it to is it's actually a thing called tuvan throat singing. So there's this small country that's in between Russia and China that's called Tuvan, and they do a type of throat singing there, and the throat singing is very, very much like it sounds like a didgeridoo. And what I do is when I do the throat singing in between the mantra sets, it just clears away. It just shuts down the monkey mind completely and actually activates my third eye. And I start to see energy moving through that third eye, whatever that gland is right there. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional. I'm not a yogi, but I do have a direct personal experience with this technology. So I'm going to run you through it real quick. This is one of the mantras in the possibility mantras, and it goes like this. I accept the possibility of responding to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability. I accept that responding to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability is now possible for me. I accept that I can now respond to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability. I just love responding to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability rather than reacting to my experiences with anger or rage. I just love responding to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability rather than reacting to my experiences with anger or rage. Rather than react to my experiences with anger or rage, I just love responding to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability. So that's the possibility mantra. It says the possibility we accept. Then it says that I would just love to do this rather than that. So it's establishing a pattern of making a conscious choice. It's laying out two options. It's laying out the survival pattern and the desired override pattern, and it's allowing the mind to choose between those two options. So we're developing the power of conscious choice. And in Conscious Creators, that is power, is the ability to have a range of options and act upon the one we want and support it through action. So we're laying all that out. Now we're bringing in the alignment mantras, which is basically saying, I love responding to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability. I choose to continue responding to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability. And finally, I am responding to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability. And then we bring in the higher power thing. So I say, collective consciousness, I pray to you today. I pray to all higher powers and deities, including Jesus and Allah and Buddha and Krishna and God, all of whom are embodied within your oneness. I pray that you help me to continue to respond to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability. Please continue to help me respond to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability. And finally, thank you so much today for helping me to continue to respond to my experiences with sincerity and vulnerability. And now we would just do, it's a 3-octave throat singing. And so it just goes like this. And I repeat that noise 3 times. And something about that combination is just completely magical. It just mitigates all my trauma patterns. It shuts off the unconscious narrative in my brain. It basically lulls my monkey mind to sleep, and it just brings me right into alignment with that conscious perspective. And anytime I do these, I do 20 possibility and alignment mantras in the morning with that throat singing sound in between each mantra. And literally, it's like I've taken an antidepressant or some kind of magical medication, and they last for like up to 8 hours. And I find myself staying completely out of instinct mode and responding to my experiences and sustaining this conscious connection. And the last thing I'm going to say about that is myself being a trauma and what's the word? Not a survival of abandonment and neglect. When I don't have a consistent connection to that oneness, to everything, when I don't have a consistent connection to consciousness, it recreates that feeling of abandonment for me. And in that moment, I can make some really rash decisions, and I'll grab out for things. That's when I go and get high on meth or pot or alcohol, or start seeking inappropriate relationships. I just look for something to fill that void of incompletion, because I can't tolerate the feeling of being abandoned or neglected, because that's my original wound. So this helps me to sustain that connection. And I just wanted to share it with you because it's been so helpful for me. And I hope you guys have a really great day. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email me at addressingthecause@gmail.com. That's ADDRESSING, THECAUSE, addressingthecause@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Have a great day.